Ganz herzlichen Dank, Werner. Thank you very much. I understand that most of you understand and speak English, so it's English as a working language, okay? If not, we can switch ins Deutsche, das geht auch, but I would like to speak a language which everybody understands. I'm very glad to be here. I said this before when I have been invited on stage, and I was very pleasant surprised to meet a choir of people whom I knew before. From the time when I was, some of them, I know from the time when I was basically your age. It's a long time ago. And when I was your age, I faced questions similar to what you do. For instance, what do I want to be in life? What do I become? Which way do I go? And I decided to become a teacher. Decided to become a teacher of physics. More exactly, I wished to become a teacher of physics at my high school. And I worked for this, and I became teacher of physics at my high school. I taught for 15 years, most of the time at my high school. I enjoyed that very much, almost as much as I had enjoyed my life as a student at my high school. As a teacher, people expect of you not only to teach things, to explain things, but also to be sort of a role model, to live a role which you think others could take over. And as such, I was very lucky to be very active in my school when something extremely important happened in Europe. It was in '89 when Europe changed dramatically. It was the time of the so-called revolutions, when the wall physically in Berlin, but symbolically all over Eastern Europe fell. And all of a sudden, after many decades of being separated, we could come together. But coming together is not always very easy, as you may have experienced yourself. You meet people, and before that you think, well, what am I going to say to him or to her? Is he going to understand, or is she going to understand my language? Are we meeting people who have similar problems, or maybe they care of something for very different things? And so, at that time, I thought it would be a very good idea to try to bring young people together, students. And I was lucky enough to have the possibility to organize a lot of student exchanges and meetings with students from Germany, from Austria, from other places. And this is why I was very open for this dialogue, and this is why I think that this opportunity for you to meet here in a very symbolic place is something you should cherish, and is something you should try to use to ask as many questions as possible to each other, ask people you meet, and you will find that basically we all want the same thing. We want to have a good life, we are looking for security, for safety. We are looking for very good chances for a career. We are looking for a society in which we feel well, we find like-minded people. And then you will probably understand why it is so important that we transform this like-mindedness in something which really brings us together, which nowadays is called the European Union. The European Union has so many crises and so many challenges as it never had before. We don't know if we are going to manage to keep it together. I hope so. I'm a convinced European. We don't know how we will manage these crises we have now, how we will manage the upcoming crisis. But if young people like you think that it is worth keeping Europe united, keeping Europe together, then we will do that and we will prevail. And I know that not everybody from here is from the European Union. One of the major problems we will have to solve is how do we relate to our neighbors. Neighbors both in the east, in the west, in the south. How do we manage to find common grounds? How do we manage to build the future together and not destroy the future together? How do we integrate people who come from very unfortunate places, like Syria? What do we do with Africa? All these questions are questions for my generation, and we will not end the problem. These problems will be handed over to you. So start early to find answers. I don't want to give a long speech, so I'm going to stop here and looking forward to your questions. Thank you.